There's a term that covers the non-physical violence, which introduces me to the subject of today, coercive control. Coercive control is an insidious pattern of behavior that the perpetrator or abuser carries out on the non-suspecting victim or target in order to control and have power over them. And they use insidious tactics such as intimidation, humiliation, and threats, which takes a toll on one's day-to-day living. This abuse is designed to make one subordinate to the abuser. As the abuser takes the upper hand, you're looking at a servant-master relationship. As it strips away the victim's autonomy, we are entitled to our own freedoms and liberties. Unfortunately, when you're under an abuser's thumb, or they are dragging you into their web of deceit and manipulation, these people do it in such a way that they are not going to leave any visible marks and scars on your body. This abuse is not, it hasn't been recognized widely, but it is beginning to catch fire. Some countries that have recognized it, and there are laws that pertain to it. It's a crime in certain places like the UK, Scotland, Wales, Ireland. Also, Hawaii recently passed a law in regard to it, and I really hope other countries catch on it and do it, because many times as physical violence is attributed to domestic violence, psychological and emotional violence should be attributed to coercive control. We are seeing one that is invisible and one that is visible. Both do tremendous damage, except that the amount of damage done by the coercive controller is way more heinous because it is not seen. You do it tactfully, so by the time you're seeing the victim of abuse, they can barely explain themselves. They can't even explain the situation they are in. When you look through some of the videos I've covered, such as psychological abuse or mental abuse, verbal abuse, emotional abuse, spiritual abuse, all those encompass the coercive control that is invisible. You do not see the visible markings to the abuse, but the telltale signs are there of someone who has been abused. I wrote down some of the ways in which abusers are going to do their best to strip down the autonomy, self-esteem, and self-worth of their victim. One, forcing you to commit criminal acts, such as participating in grant theft, carrying out fraudulent transactions, stealing checks, forging signatures, shoplifting, engaging in child trafficking, and preventing you from involving the authorities. Two, damaging property. This is where someone does not hit you, but they say during a disagreement they are so mad at what you've done and they start punching walls. They break the screen, they break the door, they break the doorknob, they break the glasses around, and then after that they flip the script on you by blaming you. Hadn't you responded that way, they wouldn't have reacted that way. Three, this failure to disclose their sexual orientation. There are some people who are bisexual. Get married to these people, and along the way you find that they want you to engage in sexual acts that you find belittling and inhumane. I also want it the other way around, and you're like, no, mine is the VJ. Someone is left in this dilemma of trying to figure out what next. They didn't disclose this, now you're married, you can't get out because God hates divorce, and because they are trying to hide their sexual preferences, they get married to you, and so they start controlling you that way. And you also have this fear, if I step out, what will people think of me? Two, how is it that I got attracted to someone like this? It means I could be having a problem. It creates an atmosphere of self-doubt about yourself, about who you think you thought you were, for exploiting your resources and capacities. These are people who are going to use you just for the next big thing. They just want to use you as a foundation to start constructing with someone else. They make you do the donkey work for them, and this is why you'll find that many times they future fake a scenario. You know, let's live together. When I've gotten money, in future we shall get married. Let me go to law school. When I'm done, we shall get married. And you're like, okay. After he has finished his degree, he's like, you know what, I'm no longer interested. While in school, I met someone else, And you're like, what? I put my life on hold. Yeah, maybe by this time you're having even more kids. God knows. But the whole thing is that you put your life on hold. There's a lady who was working 2 jobs to help her husband get through law school. When he finished law school, he got another woman in there. And she was left on the side. She could barely recover. This was years. A future fake scenarios such that they keep you in bondage to them, but they are living their lives out there. It was a means to an ends for him. 5, isolating you from your support system. They always start off by love bombing you. They show great interest in you. They literally take you to the 7th heaven. As you're still enjoying the cloud 7 up there, they just pull the carpet off. You have this thunderous fall. The evaluation process starts in the love bombing phase, actually. So you find that as they are love bombing you, they are asking you about your people. You're telling them who you love, who you don't get along with, and all that. As you're giving out all that information, it's actually ammunition for them. So they will know whom they can go to, whom they can befriend, so that they can start picking certain information about you that is going to be used against you. So you'll find that they'll start slandering you with these people behind your back most times. Talk of triangulation. Still under isolation, you'll find that you're close to your family and friends. They will encourage you to shift from there to go and live in another place where you don't know anyone. And many times where they know a person or two. Or if not, they are going to quickly start befriending people such that they appear like the outgoing one while you're the reserved one. 6, they'll be monitoring you and your daily activities. This is why you'll find that they have bagged the house, they've bagged your phone. I mean, everywhere you seem to go, they seem to know each and everything that you're doing. And on top of that, they are constantly calling you, finding out where you're at, what activities you're doing, how long you're going to take. And if you happen to take longer than you thought, it can be by even 2 minutes or 3. They will hit the roof and accuse you of even cheating on them. They will accuse you of lying. Say you went shopping and you've taken longer than usual. They are going to have a fit over it. 7, they'll deny you your autonomy. These are the people who want to control each and every aspect of your life. They'll tell you maybe you're too fat or you're too thin. You're eating too much. You're eating like an elephant, or you're eating just too little. Demanding to have you weigh yourself. How many kilograms have you reduced? How many kilograms have you added? They'll comment about your clothes, your kind of friends, and they can be having 2 cents to everything you're doing, yet they are not spending a dime buy you clothes or buy you food. No, they are critiquing whatever you're doing with your own money. So you're literally a prisoner within your house that you should be feeling free. This is why you'll also find they're telling you not to go back to school, yet you want to go to school. Or they may help you. They'll encourage you to go to school, but they are never giving you the opportunity, say in terms of finances or time to go there. They kind of make it in such a way that you're having children. Well, after the children, who is going to tend to the children? I'm working. I'm so busy. Now, if the house help, how will the house help do all this without your supervision? I'm not around. So they make it almost appear impossible for you to juggle through. And in the end, you'll find that you're not going to school as you had hoped. You're not carrying out your dreams. You've put them aside just to make sure that the relationship runs smoothly. 8, gaslighting. This is where the perpetrator makes you question your sanity, memory, and perception by denying, deflecting, dismissing, and contradicting information. They will flatly deny something they said, and then you start questioning yourself. Did I hear right? Or was it just my thinking that got loud? Before you know it, you are left second guessing. You doubt your own self. You start relying on them to decide for you because you doubt your sanity. You're thinking maybe you're going crazy. So to avoid exposing that craziness, you allow them to make the decisions for you. In that way, this is how these people start controlling your life. This is where some people will think they have developed OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder. You cannot develop it in adulthood. It's just that because of the constant making you question your reality. You start doing things twice, 3 times to be certain, 4 times to be certain that you've done them right. And even despite doing all that, you can still ask for their opinion. 9, limiting you to access of money. This is a common financial abuse. Remember, abusers worship the spirit of Mammon. So they are going to do their best to see to it that they control you in terms of finances. If you're working, they'll make it so difficult for you to work. These are the people who can start quarrels at night. You sleep late, you wake up early. You can barely function at work. The ones who are constantly calling you at work, it's like a family business and they don't care whatever time. They can come to your workplace and be dramatic about a personal issue back home. Your bosses are like, you better learn to deal with your personal private issues back home. It's not your private business. Before you know it, your work bosses can relieve you of your duties. Then also the other thing is that they can encourage you maybe to be with the kids. You need to stay home, let one of you be around the kids. So you let go of your job thinking you're being understanding, you're coming to be home with the kids while he's going to be the provider of the home, only to find that the moment you've now settled home, they start squeezing every venture of yours financially. You no longer have easy access to money. They don't give you money to spend on yourself, to buy necessities. You buy necessities, they say you're overspending. Yet they can't spend a lot of money in a night. Try to inquire, they'll tell you you're trying to run their financial lives. So you're left in a catch-22. And the whole thing is that you are crippled because you need finances to carry out day-to-day activities. You cannot say move from one place to the other without financial backing. You cannot purchase things without finances. So in the end, you find that you're relying on them. And this is how they start controlling you. They can leave you on a strict budget. You can't think of spending a dime in another area. You're stuck, period. Would even insist on a joint account. That joint account, maybe there's nothing put in. Or if there's something, it's very little. So both of you, there seems to be money, but you have no access to it. They can't give you money, say, to have your own private account. While they're stashing away their money. These are the people who are going to monitor your spending. Every dime you send out, they monitor it. They'll want receipts. It's good to account. Receipts are good for accountability. But these people make it in such a way that without it, they falsely accuse you of spending way beyond the means budgeted for. Yet they didn't give you a dime beyond the budget. 10, name calling. These are the people who are going to call you all sorts of names. They will insult you. Let's assume you're a homemaker. You're at home, you're doing all the donkey work. These people have gone out to work. They come back from work. Home is as tidy can be, but they are still not grateful. They can look for a small spot, maybe a drop of water, and they'll say you left the place dirty. They can look for a wrinkle on everything you've ironed, and they get that one small wrinkle. They'll say how you're not ironing their shirts well, their trousers well, their suits well, their dresses well. In the end, you are left belittled. You have done everything in the house to ensure that it's clean, food is cooked, nice food. But they'll complain maybe the salt was too much, the salt was too little, it was not to their taste. They'll look for something small to critique you about. You're exposed to constant criticism, malicious put-downs, slander, bullied, you're called worthless, you're nothing, you're useless. They keep projecting literally their selves onto you. And if you're not careful, you'll actually buy into their lies. Remember, whatever you're falsely accused of is a confession from the abuser. 11. These are the people who bring in gender roles. They'll tell you the woman's place is the kitchen. You're not supposed to go and work outside. You stay in the home. You're going to work, they sabotage your business. They'll sabotage at every angle. You're a man, the woman is insisting you're the breadwinner, which is not bad. Yes, you're the breadwinner. However, you'll find that she's working, you're working. Maybe she's even earning more than you are earning. But she's one who, her money is hers, your money is ours. So you don't know where she's spending, you don't know how she's spending the money. But whatever little you're having, she wants you to cover every bill in the house. Yes, you're bringing in the money, but she's even earning more. However, you don't know where the money is going. Men who keep insisting that a woman's place is the kitchen. This is why they expect you to do the laundry, they expect you to do the cleaning of the house, cooking and all that. However, they're not going to lift a finger, even if they spent the day home or the weekend, or they are off work for a period, they are at home. They are not going to carry out any kind of household chores, because it is your place as a woman to do all that. You are working, you've come back from work, they expect you to enter the kitchen and do it, instead of them who have been home the entire day watching TV or gaming. They expect you to go to the kitchen, serve them and bring them food with a grateful smile. 12. Parental alienation. Parental alienation, or turning the kids against you. This is where the abusive parent will purposefully go out of his or her way to ensure that they start maligning you to the children. They'll tell the children you don't like them, can provoke you into a fit, and as you're in that state, maybe they can even send the children to you, and you blow up in front of the children, and they suddenly run to rescue the children from the monster that you've become. And they're like, leave the child, be kind to the child. They have instigated something this side, and they pushed the child in order to come and stir you up, and it triggered you. You've blown up. Now the child looks at you as the monster, and the abusive parent as the rescuer. So in the end, you find that they are playing good cop, bad cop between you and the child that way. And that's how the child starts resenting you also. Before you know it, they've shoved it down the child's throat that you're the bad parent. And your child just starts resenting you. They pity you against the kids. Splash the kids with niceties. You're unable to do it because you do not have the finances. And now the children, because they love good things, you find the children are now relying on the abusive parent, because the abusive parent is giving them what they want. And you're the good parent, you're unable to meet their needs. Another way these people do it is that they can belittle you. This is why I'll encourage people who are caught up in domestic violence situations, especially physical. When children watch you being beaten, dissociating themselves from both parents, they love you, the parents, but they hate the parent who is beating you. They love you, the parent who is being beaten, but at the same time, they hate you for staying in a difficult, in an abusive situation that is exposing not just you to danger, but also themselves. So you're leaving children in that position, and in the end, children just pull away. And because the abuser has the upper hand, they do not want to associate themselves with someone weak. In the end, the children also leave you. They prefer being with the abuser because the abuser is much stronger. No one will bully the abuser. They do not want to be bullied. 13. You're going to find false accusations are being made against you, in that they'll start accusing you of spending a lot of time with your family and friends. You're ignoring them. You have abandoned the children and them. Everything is about them, or them. You're leaving them out. Everything is about them. They try to guilt trip you that way, and if you're not careful, you'll tone down on the amount of time you're spending with your family and friends, such that you can cover up that time with spending time with the abuser. But remember, these people are nabis. No matter how much time you spend with them, you can never satisfy them. Their validation comes from without. For you to have your own happiness, happiness comes from within. Validation comes from within. 14. These are people who are going to start determining or regulating sex encounters with you. They'll determine how long you should go, how many times you're going to have it a week or a day, what positions to use, what to use. For some people, they want you to dress a certain way. They want you to maybe do splits, maybe acrobatics for them, whatever it may be. Maybe they'll want you coming or hopping on your head in a way, or swinging your hair mid-air as you're also swinging. God knows whichever style they'll want you to come in. But what is it? They are dictating the atmosphere. They'll maybe want to tie you up. You're not comfortable with it. They are doing all this But in a way, when you refuse, they'll start saying, okay, for them, they want something, you never want to do it. They are guilt tripping. So in the end, the BDSM which you didn't want to participate in, you'll find you're doing it, or because you want to please that person. You don't want to make them feel or appear like they are a problem. Then also you'll find that this is why they may refuse to use protection. You may conceive. Sometimes they can make you conceive. After conception, they tell you they want you to have an abortion. And they're like, if you don't do it, this whole relationship is done. And you want the person, you want the pregnancy. In the end, you're in a catch-22. And many times, because people are so trauma bonded, they end up committing abortion. 15. These are people, if you do not comply to their whims, they'll threaten to kill their pet. They can threaten to harm the child, and then you're like, okay, I'm going to do whatever you want. Literally using the things you love against you in order to get what they want. They will withdraw financial help. And you're thinking, okay, how am I going to help the children? Or how am I going to help these pets that I love so much? Before you know it, you're complying to their controlling tactic. They'll tell the kids they're going to leave them alone. They're never coming back. They'll replace them. They are nothing. They'll also go and tell people maybe you're a neglectful parent. You're not taking care of the kids. You don't feed the kids. They may threaten to kidnap the children. Yet you very well know they can't take care of themselves. So if they can't take care of themselves, how are they going to take care of their kids? Like I said, abuse is demonic. A person who says they love you, or that they are Christians, born again, we are born again. But your being born again must be reflective. Faith without works is dead. Faith is not just knowing that God can do it. Faith is acting out what God has said as you wait for Him, believing for Him to act on what He has said He's going to do. Faith is not just word. It's not a mental issue. You just don't believe that it's going to happen. What are you doing to prove that it's going to happen? You're saying, yeah, I'm believing I'm going to pass my exams, but you're not reading. You cannot talk of faith in Jesus' name without you reading books that it will happen. 1 John tells us that when we say that we love God but we do not do as He has told us to do, we are liars. So you cannot say, I have faith, yet you're not doing anything in regard to it. Not by your own power, but the Spirit of God in the inside of you is that who gives you that ability to carry out that faith you're talking about. So we should avoid this misconception of, I'm believing God, He'll give me money. Go out and do something. I'm believing God to pass exams. Go out and study. If the person who says loves you but is out to make you appear mental, trolling here, they're using fear. That fear is not of God. Perfect love casts out all fear. Those who love me carry out the acts of love, not fear. How to overcome coercive control? 1, you need to acknowledge that you're in an abusive relationship. Literally a manipulationship. You need to come to that radical acceptance. You're in an abusive relationship. Love and abuse cannot habitate. The tree of the knowledge of good and evil cannot be living with the tree of life and they habitate. It's either or. 2, maintain open communication with your family and friends. Tell them what is happening. We've always been told in church not to discuss what is happening in marriages, especially what is happening in the bedrooms. This has encouraged abuse at levels untold. I encourage you to discuss these things with people who are of sound mind, people who are for you, people who are of godly counsel. Seek godly counsel about anything that is abusive in your relationship. 3, learn to stack away money, especially if you know you're in an abusive situation. Start by putting aside money, little at a time, for that rainy day as you plan your way out of it. Because you shouldn't be in a domestic violence situation. Godly marriages are not abusive. Carry out a safety plan, practice. Where will you go? Whom are you going to be in touch with? all that, the effects of abuse are detrimental to one's health. Over time, you'll find someone who wasn't an addict to anything. They are now consuming alcohol, they're on drugs, and you're wondering what happened to them. This is one of the coping mechanisms people who are in abusive relationships turn to. When God says bad company corrupts good morals, many times we don't think of such things, but it actually happens in marriages. You'll show signs of detachment, you're angry, you're undergoing reactive abuse where you appear like you're the narcissist, you're reacting to the abuse that they're taking you through. So you're fighting back and people now think you're the abuser. No, you're not the abuser, you're just fighting for your life. You'll find that you're developing mental health issues, you're depressed, you're developing anxiety, you're developing autoimmune diseases such as multiple sclerosis, Crohn's disease, rheumatoid arthritis, a host of issues. You've developed post-traumatic stress disorder, complex post-traumatic stress disorder. Literally, it leaves your mental health in jeopardy. Mental health is your behavior, cognitive, and emotional well-being of who you are. Without it, you find you're developing disabilities. So I encourage you, please seek counsel. God hasn't given you a spirit of fear. In fear, we have a host of issues. Get out, seek help. Thank you for watching. Blessings.